But first, Mo Salah's future at Liverpool remains unclear following his explosive interview last Saturday after he remained on the bench during their draw at Leeds. The Liverpool forward was left out of the squad for their midweek win at Inter Milan and is wanted by Saudi Pro League clubs. Good evening, Paul. Merson.
Evening, Rob.
The first chance you've had to have a bit of a swing at this, what would you like to give us?
I'm on Mo Salah's side. I think he's got a lot of too much stick. First people go, oh, should he have done what he done? Maybe he shouldn't have done what he done, but he's a human being to start with. He's a winner. You know, this man's a top player. I think legends used very loosely in football. I really do. I think people go, he's a legend. He's a legend. You know, the figures he's put up on the wing, as scoring goals and assists, is off the charts. We'll never see that again, in my opinion. All he's come out and said, he wants to play football. He's got the hump because he's not playing. How could you be slaughtered for that? I mean, I see people, I sat on here at the start of the season, a deadline day. There was players who were refusing to play for their clubs. And this lad is getting absolutely slaughtered. There's other players in the team that could have got dropped, and he's probably sitting there thinking, wait a minute, we're not very good and I'm not playing. Why is he playing and him playing and he's playing? And I just think it's wrong. And Liverpool wouldn't have won anything if it wasn't for Mo Salah, in my opinion. You take away Mo Salah's goals and his assists, I don't think there's any trophies in that cabinet for a while.
I think it would be difficult to argue with that fact that Mo Salah has contributed almost as much as anyone else to the success, more than anyone else, for the success that Liverpool have had since 2019, maybe when they won the Champions League. But how much grace does that success give you if in the current season you're not playing well?
No, I don't believe in one of them. I don't believe, because he's won all that, he should be playing. But he's not the only one who's been playing poorly. Do you know what I mean? And with Mo Salah can score out of anywhere. I always say Mo Salah's like the best, worst player you've ever seen. You know, he could be the best you've ever seen, and some days you watch him and you think, really, what's the hype? But what he does more than any other player that I have the utmost respect for is he could be having the worst game ever, but it never affects him. It always pop up. And I always think, as a manager, when you're struggling, do you drop your best player, your go-to player? And that's where I think he's got the and I think he's just come out and been honest. And sometimes I think we live in a world away from football where we always go, footballers are like, they're a million miles away from us now. You know, they live in their own bubble. He comes out and talks to the press, to talk to the fans, and everybody slaughters him. You know, he could have left in January for free, or signed for someone in January, left at the end of the season for free, and he chose to stay. And no one can ever sit down and tell me, oh, he signed for the money, because he could have got a lot more money in Saudi Arabia, a lot more money. And I think, for me, he's sitting there at 34 years of age thinking, I want to play football. I'm coming towards the end of my career. I want to play. That's why I signed for Liverpool. He probably signed and thought, well, I'm going to play, and rightly so. He's their best player, or one of them. He isn't playing, and I think he's got frustrated. And I have no problem with that. I have no problem. I just can't believe how massive this has become.
Again, I don't think anyone would disagree with the fact that there are other players out of form in that Liverpool team. And in fact, the manager has said it himself. Do you think that part of it is because he signed so many attacking players, he's got Wirtz now, Ekitike, Isak, he does have the option to try other things. Whereas Konate, because they didn't get Gehi, because Leon is injured, they sort of have to keep playing him, whether he's terrible or not.
Yeah, but you're bringing in players to play on the right wing that are not better than Salah. So I don't get it. You know, it's not like you're bringing someone in and you're thinking, right, this lad's coming in and he's going to do exactly what Mo Salah can do. He can get the ball out of nothing. You've got to remember with Mo Salah, he's probably played with 4 or 5 fullbacks already this season. You know, I think it's a massive miss. You know, I don't think they took in consideration when Trent Alexander left. I think they were lazy. I think they thought, well, we got Bradley, we could play Szoboszlai there, we could play Curtis Jones there.
Frimpong
comes in. You know, he's an attacking player, not really a defensive player. And I just think when Trent Alexander was playing there, he used to get the ball on the halfway line, and you had to go and engage, because he's the best passer in the Premier League, in my opinion, and he would destroy you. Now, all of a sudden, whoever plays at right back and gets the ball on the halfway line, teams are going, you can have it. We'll double up on Mo Salah. and we'll double. I played with one of the best players England have ever had, right? And I still hear people go, yeah, but he never done it for England. John Barnes. I played with John Barnes at England. We used to kick off and two players used to go and stand on him. They used to go, we'll stop him playing and we'll stop Liverpool. We'll stop England. And they did. And it's exactly the same with Liverpool now. If Mo Salah don't play well, Liverpool don't win. And I just think he's took a lot of stick. I just think we're not taking consideration playing behind them full. If you're a centre half and you're playing with a different centre half every other week, it will affect your game. It will affect your game. And teams are doubling up on Salah.
So do you think he is a victim of the change in the circumstance at Liverpool? And as you said, there's a lot of churn, particularly behind him. I don't think you can underestimate how good Trent was, but a lot of the stuff you said there about how much he gives you as a player, that is more significant than the fact that eventually time catches up with everyone. And that and sometimes it comes a lot quicker than I think we understand as people who haven't played the game, that you can come back after a summer and suddenly it's not quite there. But you think it's more what's going on around him?
I think it's that. It is that. But I sat on here on transfer deadline day and the deadline before that, and I said I wouldn't have given him 400 grand a week. Because you're right, what happens? Your legs go. But he's the one, because they're playing poorly. His legs could have gone and Liverpool winning every week. You wouldn't know. Do you know what I mean? Because he scores goals, big goals. I've read a report the other day, Liverpool defensively are poor now because of Mo Salah not tracking back. He's never tracked back. You know, why would you want him to come back? He puts up figures like that because you keep him up front and give him the ball. And I just think, because the defence has been so bad, I think he's taking the brunt of it. I really think he's taking the brunt of it. And I just think it's been blown so far out of proportion. Did you play Sunday morning football?
Badly.
Yeah, you play Sunday morning football.
Yeah.
I bet you when you turned up on Sunday morning, you weren't playing, you'd have the ump.
Never happened.
Never happened. You probably played in a bad Sunday morning team.
Yeah, well, if I was getting in the team, it was bad, I can tell you.
But do you know what I mean? It's like I played Sunday mornings when I first retired. When I retired, I played with my mates on a Sunday morning. I've seen players turn up and kick off like you couldn't catch your breath because they're sub. And, you know, you thinking this is one of the greatest players to ever play in the Premier League. Now, all of a sudden, we're talking about him like he's just average at best, and that's not right.
Is there any scenario then, or from within the dressing room? So I was thinking as I was driving down today about dressing rooms that you were in, that if you'd have come out and done that interview when you'd walked back in to get on the bus or you'd walked into training on Monday morning, what would someone like Tony Adams have said to you?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing. Nothing. He's playing in the team. You don't know. Until you're not in the team. It's when you're not in the team. It's all right, everybody else judging him. They're all in the team. If Van Dijk weren't playing next week and he didn't play the week after and a week after, you think he'd be sitting there like laughing and joking. He'd be fuming. He'd be going, how are they playing in front of me? And sooner or later he would break. And especially when you could have left for a free transfer in January or at the end of the season. So for me, no, I don't get this one. I don't see there's a problem with the players. He hasn't slaughtered the players, has he? He's not come out and...
He hasn't, no. I just wonder whether, in the scenario that they're in, where they're struggling, that they're obviously not going to retain their title. There's a lot going on at the moment. Players trying to get into form. They're trying to integrate new signings. Whether some players in that dressing room think, do you know what, that's a bit selfish there, that you've looked after yourself. And I know every player has to do that at the end of the day, but there are players thinking, at the moment, Mo, we really didn't need this as well as everything else we're trying to combat.
I think it's done the players a favour.
Do you?
Well, we're not looking at the players now, are we? We're not looking at the performance of the players. Everybody's talking about Mo Salah. Everybody. And, you know, they beat Inter Milan and got a very good result away at Inter Milan. But before that, they failed to beat Leeds, failed to beat Sunderland. I mean, I'm not great on stats, but when was the last time Liverpool didn't fail to beat a team that just got promoted? You know, 2 of them. You know, so for me, it's not like they're ripping it up. If they'd have won 4-0, 3-0, 5-0 and he's sitting on the bench, I think he keeps his mouth shut. I really do. I think he keeps it zip. But when they're fouling to beat promoted teams, and Sunderland have done amazing, don't get me wrong, you're getting the ump. You're getting the ump, especially when you're not even getting on against Leeds. You know, and you're talking about the go-to man. You know, I call him the GOAT. I would call him the GOAT. I'd put him in that sort of category where I'd put him in. He's a GOAT. He scores goals, he assists goals. And it don't matter how bad he's playing, he does that. And as a manager, I think any manager in the world, when you're not doing well, your first port of call is to go back in your drawer and pick the best possible team. And if Mo Salah don't get in that team, he's better off leaving.